much. I appreciate you guys having me. So my name is Mark Castile. Again, as they've said, I'm born and raised in Montgomery County, actually Ladoga. I've never been more than 5 miles from there, as far as living goes. Please don't hold that against me. Went to Southmont High School. I graduated from Southmont. I went to Vincennes University studying law enforcement. After my first year at Vincennes University, the sheriff then, Dennis Rice, actually hired me to work in the jail. It's been a problem forever. It continues to be a problem today with getting people there. That's a hard job. It's a thankless job. So he hired me to come back on weekends. I would come back. I never scheduled classes on Friday for several reasons, but then this worked out even better. I was able to come back every weekend. I would work in the jail on Friday night, Saturday night. I'd go back to school on Sunday. And I did that after my first year, and then went back for my second year. I graduated, and he immediately hired me right back. So I had a job the day I started. So I appreciate Dennis very much. So after that, then I worked in the jail for approximately 3 years. I went from regular jail deputy to the jail commander when I was 20 years old.
Wow.
Ran the jail for about 6 months, and then I was hired as a full-time deputy on patrol. So by choice, I worked nights my entire career. I loved the 11 to 7 shift. It seemed to be more exciting and a lot more stuff. And I didn't have to transport prisoners all day long, which is what you do a lot when you work days. Back then. Now we have people that do that. That's their full-time job. So then I was promoted to sergeant I started in 1990 I started in 1993 on the road. I was promoted to sergeant of patrol in about 96. Then in 2005, so I started in 89. In 2005, my wife she's a nurse practitioner now. And at the time, she was working full-time and going to school. She was an RN at that point, wanted to get her nurse practitioner, and to be honest, we couldn't afford it. So I started looking around at other options, and I went to work at Nucor Steel in 2005. Nucor helps pay for your education and your spouse's education. It's a great company, by the way. Great to have them as a neighbor. So I went to work there. My wife was able to finish her school, and it worked out just in time for the next sheriff's election. So we decided together, all right, we're going to do this. I ran for sheriff. I was fortunate enough to have the support of the community. I was elected in 2010. I served as sheriff from 2011 until 2019, and 8 of the greatest years of my life. Loved it. Now my chief deputy, who was my chief deputy, is now your sheriff, Ryan Needham. He does a great job. So I was able to retire from the sheriff's office with about 24 years of service. I stuck around with Ryan for just a little bit to get him going and on the right track, and not that he needed it, but stuck around with him for a little bit, and then I decided I was going to retire. So I retired from that position when was that? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. February, March of last year. No, I'm losing track of time. Last year. Yeah. So anyway, and we'll get into when this started being talked. I mean, this has been talked about for a long time, but when the county started getting serious about it, they ended up passing it, and I applied and was fortunate enough to be selected to be the new county administrator. So that's who I am. I have 2 kids. My daughter is a senior. She's graduating a year early from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She'll be going to IUPUI Law School next year. She just came back for her orientation, so I'm happy about that. And my son is a junior in high school at Southmont, and next year he's going to the United States Marine Corps. So, proud of both my kids. All right, so on the topic of county administrator, in local government in the United States, I'm going to read this, I apologize. A county administrator or county manager is a person appointed to be the administrative manager of a county. Makes sense. In some counties, the equivalent position is the county executive. Although that term is usually, it's reserved for an elected county manager. There are some states that don't have commissioners, that they actually elect a county executive. So This is different than that. I'm appointed by the county commissioners. The term county manager implies more discretion and independent authority that's set forth in a charter or some other body of codified law, as opposed to duties being assigned on varying basis to a single superior, such as the county commissioner. So that's the position that I'm in. I'm actually, I'm appointed by the commissioners, even though the way I was selected, the commissioners appointed a body to do those interviews, and they included the county council in that as well, because a lot of my duties are joint issues between the commissioners and the council. So that's how that whole process works. I'm gonna try to detach this because I know that this slide is, look at that, it's gonna work, maybe, yep. All right, so the three county commissioners, they are, they have to live in an area, of course, in order to run for commissioner, even though everybody in the county votes for every one of the commissioners. So these areas, the green is Commissioner John Fry. The peach color, I guess, is Commissioner Jim Fullwider, and the tan color is Commissioner Dan Garr. So the three commissioners, as you guys, I'm sure you know, don't want to bore you with the details, but they're elected to 4-year terms. And like I said, everybody in the county elects them. All three of these positions are part-time, and they're not part-time. They're paid part-time, but anybody in here that is familiar with that process, it is a absolute full-time job. Part of the reason why I'm here, because they're paid part-time. They put in full-time hours on top of almost every commissioner that I've ever known has another full-time job as well. So, and because of this, the commissioners realized they needed to add a full-time county administrator in order to streamline operations and provide services of better value to the taxpayers, improving the structure and function of county government. So with that said, then we have the council. So there are 7 council members. There are 4 districts, as you see on this map, and then there are 3 at-large seats. So currently, this election this year is for the 3 at-large seats. And those current councilmen are Terry Hockersmith, who's retiring at the end of this year, Gary Booth, who is running again as a county councilman, and Greg Morrison, who has also decided to retire and not run for that position. And then the 4 the 4 precincts, the blue is Mark Davidson, the maroon color is Mark Smith, the peach color is Don Mills, and the green is Tom Mellish. Tom Mellish, who's retired from North Montgomery Schools. So anyway, the commissioners and the council started having discussions about this position. The council also agreed, they're all part-time as well. A lot of them work full-time, but they're part-time. They're paid $4,000 a year. So they started having conversations with the commissioners saying, hey, if we could bring somebody in full-time to be here every day, all day, help us work on budget issues, whatever the task may be, we can see a huge benefit in that. So they started having conversations, and they agreed that the council agreed with the commissioners that a county administrator was necessary. So this position was actually created in May of 2019. So County Ordinance 2019-10 is the actual authority to hire the county administrator. And it reads that the county administrator will be the administrative head of county government under the supervision of the Board of Commissioners. So as I've already hit on, the commissioners, they thought that having a county administrator would lead to greater efficiency in the administration and enforcement of policies, which I'm pretty good at. That was what I did before. Improve supervision and communication with all the department heads, assist in financial matters and budget formulation, and provide other benefits to the administration of county government. So that ordinance was written to create the position. And so then after they had the council agree, the position's actually funded through our riverboat fund, so it's not tax money. Don't know how that's going to look in the future. That can change, but they made it very clear when they hired me that I had to make sure that I made government more efficient and save money, or the position may not be there any longer. So, I totally get that. So anyway, the county administrator's job description, these are the things that I wanted to list out for you guys, so I'll just go through them step by step. But administration was number one. So when the commissioners now, if they pass, well, as you guys know, in the last commissioner meeting, they passed 2 ordinances. One is a firearms policy for county employees, and the second was to amend their smoking ordinance. So when they do that, now I'm able to communicate back with all the department heads, answer any questions that they may have, just make sure that everyone's aware. So that was the administration piece. Supervision, because county government is very unique. Unlike city government, where you have the elected mayor, the elected council, and the clerk treasurer, and all the department heads answer to the mayor, county government doesn't work that way. So we have so many elected officials in the county. Those people are not under the control of the commissioners, right? Those people are their own boss. They run their own office, like the sheriff, auditor, treasurer, recorder, assessor, judges, prosecutor, surveyor. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So those are outside of the control of the commissioners, but they put me in this position to still communicate with them and coordinate all of those pieces of county government. So direct supervision, Lori's actually here, lucky her. Yeah, they gave me direct supervision for Lori. Lori's the executive assistant to the commissioners. She doesn't need supervision, but they put it in the job description. So Lori and I work very closely together. Our offices are just down the hall. We usually just yell back and forth, so but it's going along great. For participation, so they wanted the county administrator to attend all meetings. So I don't know if you've noticed or not, but now at commissioner meetings, there's fewer and fewer councilmen that come. They still come if there's something specific that they want to address. I don't think there were any at the last commissioner meeting. Same with the commissioners. At the council meetings now, the commissioners are coming less and less. I think the last couple meetings, the commissioners haven't been there. And it's not because they don't care, it's because I'm there. And so at the end of all of those meetings, I always communicate with the other side and them to summarize what has gone on and what happened in that meeting, what the votes were, and all those things. So that, I guess, bridging the gap between those two entities is also my responsibility, and I think things are going well. Make recommendations, so they want me to make recommendations for any policies or initiatives that I feel the commissioners would need to know about. So just to be clear, I want to be crystal clear on this, I am not a policymaker at all. I don't make policy, I don't write policy, but I do recommend policy. And then I also, I give advice when the commissioners are trying to do something. Sometimes they tell me, oh, we don't want to hear that. Sometimes they listen and say, okay, well, we'll hear you out. But that doesn't hurt my feelings, trust me. That's just part of it. But they are the policymakers. They write the rules, they write the policies, they give it to me, and it's my job to make sure that those policies are followed. Reporting, so, and I probably should say this too. This entire job being brand new, I think there are 5 county administrators in the state right now, I think. Morgan County just did it. So they're newer than me. They were right after us. But you're gonna see more and more of it. We're constantly hearing, we go to the commissioner conference, hey, what are you guys doing with that? And how's that working? Yeah, we need to be doing that. So I think you're gonna see more and more. But the reporting piece, again, I'm kind of feeling out the council and the commissioners on exactly what it is that they want. Because again, this is brand new. And there are times that I'm like, okay, hold on. I don't know that this is what you want me doing. I don't know that it's the best use of my time, but we have that conversation and then they decide what that is, and no, this is the way we're gonna do it. Same with the council. So the council, they're gonna use me to, I assume, we haven't gotten there yet, but for budgeting issues moving forward, ask me to research things that they don't have time for, research other counties. We're in the process right now of redoing the county's job classification system. So I'm right smack in the middle of all that. That goes back to the financial piece. That was the next one, and budgeting. And then of course other. Now I admit I did this too when I was sheriff, when I'd write a job policy, the very last line was, or any other thing the sheriff wants you to do, basically. So they made sure they threw that in there as well. All right, so in the actual job description, they've listed these things. They said that the administrator will perform complex executive work planning, directing and coordinating the operation of county government departments. The administrator will work with the department heads in order to ensure the proper operation, staffing, and budgeting. The administrator will advise and assist the county commissioners regarding operations and perform the primary duties listed in the job description, which we've gone through. Establish long-term and short-term goals for the operation of county government, develop methods to attain these goals, implement these methods of attainment, and periodically reassess these goals. The best example of that I can tell you right now is the county highway department. So they have made me the liaison to the highway department. We all know, and I don't care if you're in Montgomery County, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, California, wherever it is, you talk to those people and they're gonna say, hey, what are the biggest issues? And they're gonna say, our roads, they're terrible, right? And we get that. Our roads are not in good shape. We absolutely get it. It comes down to funding, manpower, equipment, all of those things. So that's where now I'm going in and I'm reevaluating what we have, the people, the equipment and people wise, how much money we have, and how we can best utilize those funds. So working very closely with the county engineer and the county highway department. We meet every Thursday morning at 8:30. But again, that's a prime example of the long-term goals. You know, again, prior to me, that was just, you know, the commissioners would appoint a highway director and you know, not that they discounted it, but you know, hope things are working the best they are. And then work with other county governments, of course, with the city of Crawfordsville, regional governmental entities, state governments, federal governments. So I'll be doing all that. And then lead and coordinate and participate in special projects. So something such as that is, you probably read in the paper, they put it out the other day, that the county's looking at a courthouse annex. This has been talked about since 2003, well, at least 2003, probably before that, because when we got ready to do a needs assessment, we hired a company, DLZ Engineering, to do that needs assessment and programming for us. And when we did, Lori was going through files, she's like, oh, hey, I found one from 2003, where we did it back then. So this isn't new, it's absolutely necessary. When we added security at the courthouse, my biggest concern as sheriff then, my biggest concern was scanning people coming in to pay their taxes, right? Coming in to see the to take something to the recorder's office or just go see the auditor. And I didn't want that, but we had no other option. So, you know, that's where we were. And so even then I was saying, hey, we gotta get the first floor out of here and, you know, get them somewhere else. But, you know, we're currently operating county government wise. We have the South Boulevard office where the commissioners are. We have the highway department. We have the jail. We have the probation department. And now our health department is completely out of space, and they have been for a while. So we were in the process of looking for something for the health department specifically. And then, you know, come full circle back around to, hey, if we're gonna do this, you know, maybe now's the time to just to do what's necessary to get it right the first time and not keep adding buildings. So my hope is that we will get an annex and then the county can get out and sell, you know, other buildings that we have, which will help us in the long run for costs, not counting maintenance, but you know, just for the maintenance and for all the upkeep and all those things on those buildings. And we can put those buildings back on the tax roll, which of course is always the goal. So again, long and short, I've kind of given you the condensed version, but you know, I'm responsible for conducting the day-to-day operations of the county. And then the biggest piece that we haven't quite got to yet is human resources. So we're kind of morphing right now. We're kind of in the middle, because the way it's always been in most county governments, the auditor takes that role, and that's really not in her job description. But that's what she's currently doing, so she's dealing with all that stuff. Now, since I've come on, I've started taking a deeper look at all of our county's insurance, whether it be health insurance, liability insurance, automobile insurance, all of those things. So those are all HR related. So I've started working on those. I've started to do any kind of ADA accommodations, any kind of FMLA requests, those sorts of things that I dealt with a lot as sheriff. So I've started to deal with those as well and taken those off of the auditor's plate. So she's still doing payroll right now. In the future, who knows what the future holds, but it'll be transformed into the county administrator being responsible for county HR. As a single point of contact, those are the things that we deal with all the time. So they want the county administrator to recommend people for employment as department heads, for discipline and for termination. That's great. They put me in charge of that. They want me to serve as the public information officer for the county, to be the open door compliance officer, access to public records compliance officer. And again, the good part about that is I dealt with all of those things when I was sheriff. Those were my duties. And I delegated that other stuff to the chief deputy, right? But I did deal with these things specifically. So then they want me to serve as the lead official and liaison with the county's insurance carriers, all of those things that I've already listed. And then of course they put at the bottom, and any and all other administrative issues that we tell you to do. So, and then, I didn't write down the date, but then the commissioners came back after I was hired and we saw another issue that needed to be addressed. So they passed resolution 2019-21, and that resolution just authorized the county administrator to perform additional tasks. And those were, they authorized the county administrator to review invoices for payment, sign claims, and submit claims. They authorized the county administrator to review and approve timesheets, payroll documents, and submit those for payment, and to do additional appropriations, transfers, and reductions from anything that has to do with the commissioner's office, the highway department, anything that falls under the scope of the commissioners. That's it, right?
Mark, thank you very
Thank you.
much.